Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nerd Ledger. We are the nerds. I'm Cage. That's Chair. If you think I'm
back.
speedrunning this intro, it's because I am speedrunning this intro because we had to restart because we are 10 minutes in and Discord started going all haywire and putting a delay, and there was like 12 seconds between when I talked and Chair listened, and then he would talk and I have to wait because Discord had 15 updates to install, apparently. Anyway, hi, we're here. We're going to talk about The Acolyte, episode 4. I was surprised.
Okay, go ahead.
I was surprised to see that most people hated this episode. And I know I shouldn't be surprised because people hate everything, especially Star Wars fans. And I don't want to blame Star Wars fans. I'm not saying it's Star Wars fans that this show is failing or whatever. Like I don't even know if we can definitively say the show is failing. But in my experience, a good number of the loudest people who talk about Star Wars are people who claim to be huge Star Wars fans and blame Disney for ruining their childhood by making Star Wars bad. But I'm pretty sure those same people complained about George Lucas ruining their childhood because he made the prequels, the holiday special, and Return of the Jedi. So, it is true. I don't know who started saying this, but it's something I say a lot. Nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans, because, like, we can all be honest with ourselves and each other that there are people who firmly believe that the vision of Star Wars is A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and then went all commercial to try to sell toys with Ewoks and Return of the Jedi. They hated that. They hated the holiday special because Chewbacca's dad is like watching porn or some shit. They hated the prequel trilogy.
And also the holiday special was really unsettling and just fell straight down into the pit of what is that, the uncanny valley? Is that what they call it, right?
Yeah,
dude, it just fell straight down onto its face at the very bottom of the uncanny valley.
Yeah. People making Ahmed Best want to kill himself simply for portraying Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
Like, we can't pretend that as a fandom, Star Wars fans are like great and know all knowing and should be in charge. Because I've seen this sentiment as well. They should put Star Wars fans in charge of these shows at Disney. The reason that certain Disney Star Wars projects are bad is because they hire the wrong people. That is ultimately what it comes down to, in my opinion. That's why Andor is like amazing and Rogue One is very good, and the sequel trilogy as a whole is not very good because they didn't hire the right people for it. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have proven to be, for the most part, the right people in many instances. And now we have the Acolyte, and people can say whatever they want. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong or you're right. And I also think that the Acolyte, if you heard our conversation when we talked about episodes 1 through 3, I don't think it's been very good. I think it's worse almost now after watching episode 4, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed episode 4, but it makes me look at episode 3 again and go, that was such a pointless fucking episode, because it treats the audience almost like we're stupid. Like we're not picking up all the dialogue of them saying these things, so let's have a whole episode flashback showing them the thing that we've been telling them the whole time. And the only reason I really like that like I already thought that after episode 3, but what kind of like confirmed it in a lot of ways is my wife didn't watch episode 3 at all, and she watched episode 4. She's not lost at all. She didn't miss anything. So, kind of odd.
Episode 3 is cool to know the context of what's going on, but you don't need it to understand the New Hope or any of that stuff because it really is self-independent. But it just makes everything better.
What?
Like you don't need episode 1, 2, and 3 is just context to the original trilogy, right? Basically, that's
no,
all
I'm
it
talking
is.
about the Acolyte.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were talking about
No.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, and I guess that is confusing because they are called episodes. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. The third episode of The Acolyte is kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because my wife didn't watch it, but she watched the first 2 episodes of the Acolyte, and she watched episode 4, and she's not lost. She's not questioning anything. She didn't miss anything. So like, I get like they have this episode to kind of weave these ideas and like also to like be like, hey, the Jedi aren't all they seem to be. Like something shady might have happened here. Like, but they already kind of explained that in a lot of ways. Like clearly we know the Jedi had something to do with what happened to the witches because May wouldn't be on this revenge plot for 16 years if they didn't, right? Like if this whole thing is a big misunderstanding, oh, my bad, I killed some Jedi because I didn't understand properly. Like that to me goes along with, I guess, what's been typical of this show is like just some poor writing. But all that being said, I enjoyed episode 4, and I know that that it wasn't great, but I enjoyed it, and it makes me want to watch more. So, share your thoughts, because you already did, but that wasn't the one that we did before. So share your thoughts again.
So rehashing everything I thought again. I thought it was a good episode. I think it was a good setup for whatever the next episode is going to be, which I think is going to be 30-minute nonstop lightsaber fight scene. I think that Dark Jedi, Sith, whatever you want to call them, is going to kill each and every one of those Jedi there, including Master Soul. And I think that's because of this. I think they really set that up in this episode. I like how May kind of came to her senses and was like, the Jedi don't like execute people, or at least so like, I know you don't think like she thinks that, but still, at the end of the day, maybe she started to come to that rationalization as she started to kill these Jedi and realize none of them were actually going to really fight her with like all their strength and just start murdering her out of the blue. Like maybe it changed when she tried to throw that knife at that one dude, and then she like used the Force to save him, and then she threw the other knife, and she felt bad about it, and that one Jedi didn't just pull her lightsaber out and cut her in half. So I just think there's some good setup here. You're right. The writing is a little quirky. It's a little weak. I think some of the acting is a little bit weak too. Some of the character actors are definitely not the best. But that's just is what it is. I'm just glad that this exists. Like I stated before, I really feel like that this High Republic setting really feels distinct from the Galactic Civil War, from the Clone Wars, from the sequel trilogy. Like I feel like it feels like a very distinct thing on its own, and I'm very happy with that because they use practical effects, like that look different.
Yeah, practical effects are good. CGI not so good. I mentioned before when nobody was listening, but the shots of Coruscant are really bad. They're very JPEG-y to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the episode. I can go through all the things that were like not great about the episode. From, to me, May's sudden change of heart because Osha's alive, but I don't see how that changes anything, to be honest.
I don't think it has to do with Osha being alive. I think it has to do with her like coming to her senses and realizing that
that she's
like,
been wasting the last like 16 years of her life trying to kill Jedi, and whatever, she made a deal with the devil kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she's afraid that if she doesn't go through with it, that he'll kill her. But she seemed like she wanted to kill the Jedi. So
yeah. Well, at first, she was a little convinced, and then that first Jedi wouldn't fight her, and then the other Jedi like apologized to her. Sorry, we didn't know what we were doing. We all thought we were doing the right thing, and then he killed himself for her. So it's just I think there's a lot here. That's a good thing about it. I think there's a good little plot here.
If it pays off.
To see, yes, if it pays off. Like again, I was talking about this with my buddy on Discord this morning. If it goes like, obviously all those Jedi are gonna die, and I think the Dark Jedi is gonna take both the twins and make them his like dumb little apprentice or whatever, right?
Maybe. I mean, so it depends what theory you subscribe to here. But I think this episode wanted you as the audience really to believe that Kimmer, the May's companion, is the Sith Lord guy. Like they want you to believe that.
Yeah. That's what I think too. And that he's just a pawn too. That's what I think.
Yeah, but it's entirely possible that it's one of their mothers. Probably not Anasea, because we saw her dead. But the Zabrak mom who carried them, it could be her. But I don't know if we ever saw her body. So could be her. Who knows? Yep. And if it is her, then might make more sense that like she could convince May and Osha both to like join her or whatever.
Yeah, I think too, like how it's gonna go is that these like twins will eventually resist this dark Jedi or something like that, or they'll do something to escape, or maybe they'll die, I don't know, or they'll do something really cringe, which is like they'll pick the worst option, which is, oh, like the Jedi are actually evil, the Republic's actually evil, like, you know, they kidnap kids or something like that, and like, yeah, that's fucked up, but you know, it's just been how the Jedi have operated for millennia or something like that, you know, so
yeah.
if hopefully they don't go that cringe route.
Yeah, hopefully they don't do that shit.
Yeah.
But I think that like there are undertones of that already that people are
Mm.
picking up, and you know, it is what it is. I think the worst part about this show so far is like so much of it is just not interesting. Unfortunately, like Master Soul, right, is interesting. He's a good character. He's a good
Yeah.
actor.
He's a good actor, yeah.
But like I was saying before, like after episodes 1 and 2, right? Then we jump into this flashback, and I just don't care
Yeah.
about these kids. Like I just don't
Yeah.
like. The show didn't do anything to make me care about Osha or May, really. I know it's setting up, right? Obviously, like you know, May has the symbol on her head that her mom had because of the Ascension kind of thing. And then when you see Kelnaka, the Wookiee Jedi in this episode, he has like drawings of that symbol as well. And so take from that what you will. I think that's also a bad decision on the part of the writers to not have a fight scene with Kelnaka. I think a lot of people would have loved to see a Jedi Wookiee in battle in live action.
Yes.
But we didn't get that. So I think
Nope.
that will be disappointing to many people. Yeah, like I said, a lot of people will probably just see this episode and go, wow, what a boring episode of people just walking through a forest for half an hour. But I think like there's enough there to keep me interested. And I guess something I kind of thought of earlier today when I was thinking about this is like the show isn't terrible and it's not really good either. And I think what the conclusion that brings a lot of people to is that like it is bad, right? Because I think a lot of people really have this expectation of a show like this to be like groundbreaking and do insane things and things that people
Yes, like the first season of like the first season of The Mandalorian.
right, or even
I
Andor,
think that's what a
right?
lot of people. Yeah,
Like
I think a lot of people were. No, I think a lot of people were expecting the first season of Mandal. So for Andor, right? Andor's good. Sorry, I just sneezed. Hopefully, it
oh,
doesn't start a whole chain of sneezing. Andor's fantastic for the time period and the setting that it's in, right?
yeah.
But Mandalorian made something entirely new,
Yeah.
right? So in some ways, the first season of the Mandalorian I kind of hold above Andor, even though Andor is obviously some of the best television out there. It's being played on FX around the clock. That's how you know it's so good. Is that they're playing, you know, commercials are playing to have their like stuff played around freaking Andor.
Yeah.
Um, so I think I think that a lot of people were expecting the Mandalorian season 1 and they're not getting it, and that makes them upset too. You know, where they're just not
Right.
instantly grabbed by everything. Because you know that first season, the first episode of the Mandalorian does grab you. It does. It's pretty cool. And you know they're expecting the same thing, and I think this is going to be much more of a slow burn if they do it right.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, I mean it is halfway through the season and like you can't fully judge it unless you've seen the whole product. I mean, you can obviously people can do what they want. People can say they hate it without even watching it. Like it's your life. Do you know live it how you want. But yeah, I mean it's hard to come to any full conclusion, you know, without having seen everything. Just where we are right now, it's like I think there are good ideas in here and good concepts. I just think it's executed so poorly so far, and that's where I'm at. But I do think that episode 4 was probably the best episode we've got so far,
Yeah.
because you can tell it's going somewhere finally. Like things are happening that like aren't just like whatever, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like because I think the people making the show, they're like, okay, Indara dies right away. That's a bang. That's gonna hit people. But to me, it doesn't. Like it just falls flat because these are characters I don't know and don't care about yet.
Exactly.
Like So and then the same with Torben. He drinks the poison. Okay, I don't. Why do I care about this character in this plot?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I don't think you're supposed to care. I think it's supposed to be a little. I think it's supposed to be dramatic, though. Like it's
yeah,
supposed to
but
be
it's not
fun.
dramatic to me because I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah.
So like, and I get it. It's like for some people they'll go, "Oh, that's shocking. Oh, crazy." For me, it's not shocking because like I don't care about these characters yet. Like it'd be like if they beheaded Ned Stark in episode 2 of Game of Thrones. Like
Yep.
I don't care yet. Like okay, like they killed some like nobody ever talks about the fucking guys who abandoned the Night's Watch in episode 1 and Ned Stark beheaded. Nobody cares about them because you don't have any time to care about them.
Yep.
Like you just met them, right? So, I don't know. Like that's just why I think execution wise, it's not being done great.
Yeah.
But you can tell like things are starting to happen, and it'll all kind of hopefully tie together in a nice little bow at the end. But one of the biggest criticisms of this episode that I think is absolutely ridiculous to criticize is the appearance of Ki-Adi-Mundi. He's credited. He's the guy in the Phantom Menace who says the Sith have been extinct for a millennia. And he's in this episode. He's credited in this episode. It's a new actor. It's not the same actor. Yeah, people are using very loose canon and saying it's breaking that canon, and like the only canon is really like an accompanying CD-ROM to the Phantom Menace or some shit, and like some extended universe books that are not canon. So, and even if it was breaking canon, I don't see how that destroys or ruins Star Wars for anyone. It's not like Star Wars hasn't broken its own canon many times. And I get it. People are mad about that too. People were real mad about midichlorians. People really hated the Phantom Menace. But now it's the 25th anniversary, and people really love the Phantom Menace. So, I don't know. Yeah. On top of that, this whole thing of like, well, there's clearly Sith in this show. Like, how does he not know or whatever? And like, when they're in Coruscant, they're talking about, oh, someone must have trained May. Like, they're referring to him as, like, a Jedi. Like, she must have been trained by a Jedi, and there's a traitor among us. That doesn't mean they're a Sith Lord, right? Like, those are very different things. So, it's entirely possible that he has no knowledge of this, and to your point, like, it's very likely most or all of those Jedi will die in the next episode because they can't report back to the Jedi Council that they fought a Sith. Because that would break canon. That is problematic. So, I don't know. I don't really get that criticism. There's also the Plo Koon clone doppelganger in this episode. It's not Plo Koon. It's a different character of the same race. But he's also, we see him. Fun fact about Plo Koon. When they filmed the finale of season 3 of The Mandalorian where Luke showed up, Dave Filoni told the actors it was Plo Koon who was there to save him, and they had a R2 droid that was painted green and red, and some actors were like, this is very clearly R2D2, so that must be Luke, and others were like, I had no fucking idea that it was Luke. So it was fun. It's fun. It couldn't be Plo Koon anyway, though. Plo Koon we saw him die in Revenge of the Sith. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's hard to tell how this goes all over the place, and
yeah, but I don't know. Like, I think the more you stay off the internet and out of comment sections of all these people that are just like full of angst and hatred. And listen, I get it. Like, it's okay to not like this show. Like, it's okay to say, wow, this is an awful show. And it's even okay for you to have your opinions on wokeism or whatever. Like, people be yourself. I'm not telling you have to change or whatever. I might not agree with you, but do your thing, buddy. But staying away from all that, like staying off the internet, just don't read all this shit. Like, you can just disconnect a little bit and just enjoy things. You
Mm.
know, like when I'm watching the show, like I'm not annoyed, I'm not irritated, I'm not mad.
Exactly. There's nothing too hammering. If you listen to some people, they would say that this entire episode is like this entire show is like labeled with woke PC bullshit, and it's just not. It's just not. Like that's just people being dumb.
Well, I mean, there's multiple camps of this too. There's the camp that is like that and like, oh, this show is terrible because it has a woman lead and because it has a woman director and because there's these lesbian witches and oh, Osha referred to Basil, that little sniffy guy, as a they, like, oh my god, like pronouns. And like there are those people, and then there's other people that say this show is not bad because of those things. This show is just bad. Like House of the Dragon has women leads and it's really good. Like that's
Yeah.
not why the show is bad. And so like but like those people get grouped into one group, and then anybody who says the show's not bad, but it's not great, they're the shills eating up Disney shit, along with all the people who say, "Oh, you guys are all racist and homophobes and transphobes and all that stuff." Like that's just kind of how this country is run by the loony bins now.
Mm.
It's just how it is. America's gonna lose, no
Mm.
matter what. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Like, if you don't enjoy it, like, listen, life is too short to just waste time on things that you hate. Again, do what you want. That's your prerogative. But I mean, I'd rather spend time. Geez, I sound like Rose in The Last Jedi. We don't win the war by destroying what we hate, but by saving what we love.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, it's not that bad to get all philosophical about it. Like, I just
No.
think that, the election cycle is obviously happening and it's very stressful and it's not normal. Like, and no one can pretend that this is normal anymore. I don't care who the fuck you are, Republican, Democrat. Okay, there's two old dudes up there that are way too fucking old to do this job. Like, one of them is an obese fat man who slaps his name on giant buildings and gilds them with gold, and the other one needs to be wheeled around everywhere because he has a lot of mannerisms that are eerily similar to my grandmother who had dementia and Alzheimer's. So, I don't trust anyone. I'm not voting. Like, I'm just not. I'm gonna wait and see what happens. That's all
Yeah.
we can do. Just like with this show, with the
Yeah.
Nerd Ledger, all we can do is wait and see. Speaking of which, is there any good nerd news out there, or is it pretty boring?
Oh boy,
And yeah,
is there.
in short, episode 4, pretty okay. It wasn't bad. The Acolyte so far, like first 2 episodes were okay. This episode was okay too. Episode 3 was kind of cringe, but I'm not gonna let the one bad apple spoil the bunch. I'm just gonna throw it out and not focus on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, the Penguin TV show is got a release date of September 1st. Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
That'll be interesting. Well, you
Uh,
and I both like that Batman movies, so hopefully it'll be good.
yeah. Charlie Cox is going to voice Daredevil in the Spider-Man freshman year cartoon that apparently is still coming out at some point.
That's cool.
But Tom Holland will not be voicing Spider-Man. So, don't know what's going on there. House of the Dragon season 2 episode 1 aired. I haven't watched it. I'll watch it eventually when the whole season is out. What? Okay. Yeah, the news is kind of dead. Kind of dead.
Yeah.
So much of this just like old news. What the fuck? Can I get an can you update your
I thought it was
fucking
like a
news?
big deal that that Batman, that freaking Deadpool and Wolverine was releasing concurrently with the one in like America and the one in China. They're releasing at the same time, the exact same time. So that'll be a really
Really?
big a box off. Yeah, exact same time apparently.
That's interesting. I mean, it's gonna be a huge movie. Like it's gonna make a bunch of money. Let's be honest. But it's rated R, and something
Yeah.
that people I remember everywhere. All the people saying Disney is gonna ruin Deadpool. They're gonna make it PG-13. They're never gonna release a rated R superhero movie. It just won't ever happen. When has Disney ever done a rated R movie? We don't count Miramax. We don't even know that they own them. When have they ever done it? I'm just like, bro, they're either gonna do it or they're not. And if they don't, they Deadpool is an easy character to skirt around like profanity. Like he breaks
Yeah.
the fourth wall. Like you can easily
Yeah,
like
he can literally make a
censor
joke about
things.
him not being allowed to curse. Like
Yeah.
he'll be like, "What the
People act like
frickin' frick frack?" Like
people act
he
like
would.
Deadpool comics are like X-rated. They're not.
They're not. No,
They're
most
not.
of the time it's most of the time it's those two narrators. Like right? He has like it's the difference in the comics, right? He has
Yeah.
like two different narrators in his head or something like that. They're
Yeah.
doing most of the like most of the funny stuff.
Yeah.
So it's it's yeah. I played the Deadpool video game, which was actually pretty comic book accurate apparently according to most people. Like with all the interactions and stuff like that. And he's like
Yeah.
listening to Cable, and he was literally so bored that he shot himself.
Yeah.
Cable started talking like we need to go to the future and blah blah blah, and then like it turned over to Deadpool and he's like wah 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 wah, and like Deadpool was like on a freaking like a toy horse. Oh, it was so freaking good. Ah,
Yeah.
that video game was great. Deadpool the video game. Never played it. You should.
Yeah. It came out like probably like 10 years ago, right?
Hmm.
Or longer. It came out
Yeah, a
like a
long
couple
time
years
ago. It
before
was
the
on the
movie, right? Like the first
yeah, it was on the
movie.
PS3. I think it was on the PS3 actually, if I remember correctly. So yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, other than that, I mean, it's nerd news is kind of dead. All it is people saying the Acolytes critics are all bought and paid for, or the Acolyte is not being review bombed, guys. Totally not happening. Like, that's all the news. It's all about the Acolyte and whether you are on one side of it or the other. Unfortunately for us, we're in the middle, so we don't get our opinions don't count. So, but whatever. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. So, yeah. Anything else? What else is going on? What's going on in the nerd world? No idea.
Fallout and Modern Warfare are having a collaboration
Oh, well, that is
for some
interesting.
reason.
Yeah. Well,
Everyone's these collabs, dude. Like it's so crazy. Like, and it's weird because they're all doing the same thing. It's like what happened with WoW, right? And World of Warcraft came out. All the MMORPGs were on the market all the time. Completely redid their games to copy World of Warcraft, right?
True.
Star Wars Galaxies, EverQuest. That's all what they did. And now freaking Fortnite came out. Now Modern Warfare and it's trying to freaking copy Fortnite essentially. Like
Well,
everyone's making
that's
their
been
own little
happening
battle.
for years, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Everyone wants battle royales.
yeah.
Anytime a game gets like really, really big, a bunch of game companies try to just like fit that format into their games, or they create new games with the same exact format. So, I mean, we've seen it with everything. I mean, when Among Us was big, you saw a bunch of companies trying to come out with similar games to Among Us, right? So,
Yep.
but I mean, Fortnite is arguably one of the biggest games of all time. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, that is a true fact. And so, yeah, of course, they're going to try to integrate battle royales into everything.
Yeah.
So, and I say that as someone who's never played Fortnite or any other battle royale. So, but well, in Fortnite,
it's moderately it's free. That's the most important thing. It's free. One,
yeah,
two. It's moderately entertaining.
and Fortnite is just a kid's version of PUBG.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, right, like PUBG was pretty big, and then Fortnite pretty much took that model and just made it for kids, and then got a bunch of licensing agreements to have your favorite characters and Travis Scott in it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, speaking of video games, also, the Elden Ring DLC dropped today, right? Dropped today.
Yes, it did.
Are you gonna play that? Aren't you a big Elden Ringer? Or maybe not.
Yeah, I am. Yes, I have it installed. This weekend, there's this dumb Star Wars game I play called Star Wars Galaxies Legends. And I do space PvP specifically. This thing came out called Deep Space Comms, which is a token you can do space PvP, and you can turn that into money essentially. That you can turn it into things, but those things are worth money. That's what it comes down to. This weekend is the double token weekend, so that is all I'm going to be doing this weekend. And then I am going on Saturday. I am volunteering from 11 to 4, and then I am taking a leave for a night to a steakhouse, which means I'm trying very hard to get laid.
Oh,
Just kidding. Edit that out. No, don't.
I can't.
But yeah, yeah. But I'm going to go see. I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to take a lady friend down to a steakhouse. So hopefully, we'll have a good time and just catch up and have fun. Yeah.
I will be working all weekend. And working all week, and then I have a half day on July 3rd. so I'll get a haircut finally, and then I
There
have
you
to
go.
work again July 4th, and then the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day for another like 60-ish days,
Mm.
and then I'll get a day off maybe.
There you go. Well, I'm rooting for you, brother.
Yeah. I might actually have to take a day off of my primary job just because I think my vacation time will max out for like the 20th time. So
You do that quite a bit. I think we've had this conversation a couple times. Learn how to take a vacation, brother. Come on, man. Just
get
do it.
10 hours of PTO a month, and I'm maxed out. So I have to take like 2 days.
Take a staycation. Just stay home and play video games or something. Come on, man.
I hate that shit. I hate taking days off and not doing anything.
I don't know what to tell you, brother. You're even paid. You're not doing anything. You're getting paid to stay home. That's what you're gonna start thinking about it.
You know what happens is I take the day off because I have to, and then I log in and do work, and then I get yelled at by my boss.
Because you're not supposed to do that.
Well, I know, but I got nothing else to do if I do that.
You could play guitar. You could go to the
Yeah,
gym. You could go on a walk. You could play video games. You could read a book. You could
I already go to the gym 5 days a week, and I work 7 days a week. So this is why I tell people, all right, if I can make it to the gym 5 days a week, working 7 days a week, you can make it to the gym.
Yeah, I get up at 6 a.m. walk my dog every morning.
Yeah, I get up at 5 a.m. every day, and some days I don't get home till 8 p.m. So, is what it is. So, yeah, my dog, he's been waking me up at like 2 a.m. because he's a little fucking drama queen and wants to use the bathroom at 2 a.m. all of a sudden, even though I walk him like 3 times between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. He's still wants to go out at 2 a.m. So what I do is I tell him he has to wait till 5 a.m. And then eventually he goes back to sleep. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
That's what dogs do.
Yeah, I would just let him outside because we have a little tiny area in the back. But anytime you go, like I open the door, he gets scared and thinks he's being punished. So I don't know. Yeah. So he wants to walk.
He wants to walk.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it, everyone. Thank you for.
And we made it to the top of the hour. Look at that. Our dumb bullshit spiel worked.
Yeah.
One full hour with slight interruption. We did it. We did it. We did it.
We have no obligation to be here, but we are here anyway, okay?
We're suffering for all 0 of you. Let's check in. All 1 of you. It's probably me.
It's just me.
It's probably.
Yeah, it's just me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, me. And anyone listening to the podcast version of this, I have a coworker who actually, I think he listened to the last episode we did about the Acolyte. He's like, "Oh, you're giving up on Disney," and I was like, "What?"
No, that's not at all.
Did I say that?
You said episode 3 was kind of cringe, man. The power of 1, the power of 2, the power of many. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, what were you thinking, dude? Like, you could do like force witch rituals. That's fine, but you don't need to do some cringe. Like, at least do it in Arbesh or something, so it sounds like, you know,
yeah, like, do it in another language, or like just do like a cool chant with like a beat, like the power of 1, the power of 2, the power of many.
Yeah, so literally anything. Then the power of 1.
Yeah, Jesus, holy
shit. The power
of
2. The power of many. Like how they like it's just the power of many.
Brother. That's where you need a cut to Deadpool shooting himself in the head.
Yeah, or just crying like riding on the freaking horse. Anyway, I gotta get going, dude. It was fun. All right,
bye everyone. Tune. Thank you. Click, comment, like, subscribe, review, rate. Bye.